Hi there. I was just making some swaps for on stage in Red Deer next weekend. It's just a week away, and I thought I would pop on and give you a few tips for making multiple cards. Like this is. I'm going to be doing about 40 of these, and it is just a card front. There's no back. I'll be putting my information and what I used on the back. So I thought I'd just give you a few tips that might be helpful if you are a new crafter, or you have reserved and received your Stamparatus, or if you have yet to order it and want to see what it's all about. So welcome. I'll just place that here so you can see what it is I'm doing. I am using the Stamparatus, like I mentioned. I also have the Petal Palette suite. I've used pretty much everything in this suite. I've got my two stamp sets here, and with the Stamparatus I have found that by having a stamp set underneath takes any pressure off the hinges, because you really don't want to break those. These magnets are very strong. I've got them wrapped in cute little animal print duct tape, but be sure to keep them apart. When it's not in use, there is a spot underneath. I'm not going to lift it right now. I'll do that at the end. But be sure to keep them apart, because when they come together they can snap and they can actually break off into shards, and it is actually really quite dangerous. So please heed that advice. It hasn't happened to me. I've seen other videos with that, so please be careful. So for this, you can see I'm using the roses here. I've got it mounted on the Stamparatus, and if you haven't seen the Stamparatus, there are 4 different stamping surfaces on here. There's this side. I could put a stamp on this side, and then I just take this plate out and turn it around. And this is great if you're making multiples that have number of stamps. So I'm going to flip that back there. I found a video that had a tip to, let me back up. I am using the tailored tag punch, as you can see, and I have punched out of this piece of A2 size cardstock, so it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I have punched it. For this instance, it really doesn't matter where it is. I just wanted it to be far enough away from the corner and the edge so that I would get a good impression every time. Apparently there have been some issues with not being able to get a good image in the corner, and this is actually a Misty Creative corner. This is not one that comes with the Stamparatus, but I find it's a good way to keep the paper down in the corner and also to line things up if you wanted to stay away from that corner. So I've also got my silicone mat under here. I don't need it for my red rubber stamps, but it's just found a new home. So let's get going on this. I am doing tone on tone, so this is powder pink cardstock and powder pink ink. So I'm just going to ink this up over here. Now for a big image like this, the classic Stampin' pads are great. If you wanted to do a smaller stamp, like we're going to for the greeting, you could use a Stampin' Spot. I do prefer my full-size pads, but you can get the Stampin' Spots, which come with Paper Pumpkin each month. You can get uninked spots and make your own. So that's great. And look how easy that was. All we need to do, I'm using my paper piercing tool. I have put a little run of snail on there so that the paper doesn't lift up after I've done the roses and before I've done the sentiment. But this is going to be a perfect impression every single time. I've got my pile here. I've only done 4 of them so far, 5 of them. But that is just, I wanted to share that great Stamparatus tip for making multiples, so you could do all of your stamping and be done. So thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe and tune in again. Bye.